Alright, welcome. Thank you for visiting my channel. This is the first video on there. Um, at the moment, I am working on an Iron Man suit. And, I've been working on coding it. And I've just been uploading it to Instagram on my personal account. But I decided I would make a YouTube channel for this and all my other builds that I make to reach a broader audience. So, yeah, thank you for coming and watching. And, after this, I will just show a screen recording of all my Instagram posts about the Iron Man suit so far. And then the rest of the videos will actually just be uploaded straight to here. But I was just going to explain to you, what's happening, what the channel's about. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So I have made a night vision headset. It's made out of a Raspberry Pi. There's a night vision camera under this filter. This filter is just to stop regular light coming through and only let infrared light through. And then I have a screen inside this headset. I did not code any of this. I just took the code from the internet because I don't know how to use it yet. Anyways, so if I go turn my light off, we cannot see anything except for the light coming out of this screen. But if I go put the headset on, or if I put the camera into the headset, hold on, you can now see part of my room. Or if I try to, let's see, gotta figure out how to do this. There we go. Like if I move it around, it's actually very clear in real life. My camera's just not focusing, but you can see around my room, but you can't actually see anything without the use of the headset. So I have made a night vision headset. Okay, so I've added a USB camera to this project. Here's the camera that was in the last video to see in the darkness. This one's for regular daytime. So now, if I start the program, that's the nighttime camera. You can't see anything really, just because it's not dark unless I take that filter off. And then I can close that, and it'll open up the daytime camera. So I can swap between both of them now. Yeah. Okay, I have added a relay to the flashlight for the night vision camera. You can see it's just hooked up to the Pi right now. So then, if I start the code for it, you can hear that click, and now that is on. And then if I turn on the daytime camera, it turns back off again. See? It turns on whenever the nighttime camera turns on, and then turns back off whenever that one turns on. Okay. Alright, so this is part 1 of voice commands for my Iron Man suit. I say part 1 because there's a piece of code that's not working and I gotta get it to work, and that's when part 2 will be. I'll show you in a minute. So down here you'll see the output of what it's doing. So if I just run the code, hey Jim, what time is it? Hey Jim, what time is it? Hey Jim, what time is it?
The time is 11:13 p.m.
Alright, so down there you could see that it was listening and it was repeating what I was saying. If it repeats it twice, that means it's not a command that I've programmed into it. And you could see that sometimes you have to repeat yourself and like say it clearly, but you could hear that it's 11:13 p.m., which is what time it is currently while I'm recording this. I have two other commands, and they are to engage the daytime vision camera, like regular viewing like you can see right now, and night vision. So I'll run one of the other commands. Hey Jim, it is nighttime.
Got it. Activate the nighttime camera.
So you can see there's the nighttime camera coming from here. I took off the light filter so that it actually has an output, because if I just put it on, you can't see anything because there's no IR light in the room right now. Hey Jim, it is daytime. Hey Jim, it is daytime. Sometimes I can't tell when it's listening, so I may not be saying it at the right time. Hey Jim, it is daytime. Hey Jim, it is daytime.
Got it. Activate the daytime camera.
There we go. And as you can see, like sometimes it gets the wrong thing. Sometimes it gives me this error. I don't know why, but if I just get back on here and I just restart the code, normally it fixes it. Hey Jim, it is daytime. Hey Jim, it is daytime.
Got it. Activate the daytime camera.
Yeah, you can see sometimes it says the wrong thing. Okay. I'm gonna pause the video real quick, or pause the recording, and get this sorted out, and then I'll be back. Alright, so this is what it shows. It's now coming from this camera instead of that camera. You can still see there's the two images like it needs to be. But the problem is, you could see when I had the nighttime camera up, it continued to listen to me, and that's how I was supposed to switch cameras. It recognized the command. There was just a number that had to be changed from a 1 to a 0. I don't know why it changes what it needs to be sometimes. Anyways, the problem is, after I get to this, it stops listening to me, and which means I cannot do anything else unless I restart the entire code. I don't know why. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure I know why, because when I will explain all this code to you after I get it working completely. Right now I'm just going to skip through it. So there's a while loop that continues to make it listen like over and over again. But whenever this one right here starts for the camera, it's like stopping the listening one, and I don't know why. So what I tried to do to combat this is put all this code that you see in yellow right here in between the three dots, all that code. I put that in there, and then it continues to listen, but then the camera doesn't show correctly. I can show you right here. If these three dots just make it to where like that part of code doesn't run, but I'll show you what happens if I let it run. Hey Jim, it is daytime.
Got it. Activate the daytime camera.
You can see then it just does this weird thing up in the corner. I don't know. It does that instead of actually turning on the camera like it's supposed to. Now you can see the green light is on, but I don't know why it's not showing like it's supposed to. So whenever I get that fixed, then there will be part 2, and I'll also explain what all this code is. But until then, yep, that's what I got. Okay, so this is Gym version 1. I'm going to go ahead and start the code. So you can see it automatically opens to the daytime camera. And so if I say, hey Jim, it is nighttime. You can see it then closes out the nighttime, it closes the daytime camera and opens up the nighttime one. Um, it would turn on the flashlight if I had it connected. I don't have it connected, but the code is on there to turn it on. And so it'll just let you switch between the two cameras. And then if I say, hey Jim, what time is it? Okay, so I had to restart the code because I guess my pronunciation isn't good enough for it to detect it. So I just cut all the extra part out. You can see those are the 3 commands, switching between the 2 cameras and asking what time it is. And then I'm going to pull up a list of things that are coming up in the future. Okay, here's a list of things I would like to happen in the future. Of course, I'm going to make a suit. I'm not just coding this just to sit on my desk. I'm going to actually put it in a suit. I would like to give it an actual AI, which would mean that, like, it'd kind of be like Jarvis. It could talk back to me and, like, have an actual conversation. I wouldn't have to say very specific commands to get it to work. I could say, like, broader commands, and it would learn that those mean to do different commands. Possibly flying, if I could figure that out. I'm not really sure if that's possible. Some sort of extra strength, that would be cool. I don't know if that's possible either. I had to figure out how I'm going to, like, what the suit's going to look like. I have an idea for how the helmet's going to open, but that's really all I have. So if you have a suit design, please leave it in the comments or text me it or something. Probably going to make the first suit, like, 3D printed, and then maybe one of the future suits be made out of actual metal. Like, get it plasma cut and folded and welded and all that to make an actual metal suit. If y'all have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Or any questions, you can leave those as well. And then I will post a video either on a second post or it'll be on the same post of how the code goes. Okay. I haven't really tried this. I've only tried this like once before, so I'm not sure how well it's gonna work. I'm screen recording on the Pi instead of using my phone, just because I'm only gonna be using the Pi screen for this, so there's no point in holding my phone the whole time. This is a description of the code. So if you don't want to watch this, I would click off of it. But if you do want to watch it, I'm making a video on how it works. So these lines right here, that all these purple lines, they're importing stuff. Threading is used to run the camera and speech recognition at the same time. Importing speech recognition is pretty self-explanatory, but it's used to convert speech to text. Importing the OS, it's used to convert text to speech, which is Jim's voice. Import time is used for delays and getting the current time for, like, one of the commands that is what time is it, it has to get the time. From Pi camera, import this stuff that's used to run the nighttime camera. Import subprocess, that is used to show and hide the day camera. Import Pygame, import pygame.camera, and import pygame.locals, import asterisk, is used to display the daytime camera. Import rpi, which is Raspberry Pi, .gpio as GPIO. It's used for engaging Didn't spell that right, hold on. Engaging and disengaging GPIO pins. GPIO pins are general purpose input output pins. Input output, there we go. And so GPIO set mode, it uses the numbers instead of the board numbers. That is really only important if you're the one plugging it in, so I'm not going to explain it. Flashlight underscore GPIO equals 17. It defines pin 17 as the one I want to use for the night vision flashlight. GPIO.setup and then flashlight underscore GPIO.out. It just tells the code that pin 17 is an output, which means it's going to send out like 5 volts from it instead of expecting an input of something. And then lines 10 through, wait, hold on. I forgot I added an extra few lines of code when I did this, so those numbers aren't correct. Let me just change them real fast. So lines 14 through 36 are used for displaying the nighttime camera. So all of this stuff is just things that I need for the nighttime camera. These 4 right here are defining things for Pygame. Like all of these are variables and they all store this data right here. And then listening equals true. It's used to make a loop for the speech recognition. Define infinite loop 1. It's a loop to continue running the code, and it is needed for threading, which threading is the thing I mentioned at the very beginning. It's being able to run the camera and speech recognition at the same time. That was the problem I was having in the last video, and threading was the way to solve it. Window equals true. It's used to make lines 55 and 57 run once. Now normally, if I just did that, it wouldn't, but I'll explain how it makes it only run once in a second. While listening is just a loop for the speech recognition to keep going. These lines are just defining things for the speech recognition so it can run correctly. Try, it starts a second loop for speech recognition. Print listening, it prints listening in the shell to show that it is listening. I'm not going to scroll all the way over, it just says that it's listening. The shell is this thing down here, so like whenever I run the code and you see all the lines scroll past it, that's what all this is. So while window, it's the loop for lines 55 and 57. So day when, I just named that the variable, it stands for day window. It equals subprocess.run, all this code right here. And basically all that does is it is used to get the window ID of, that's what I say of the daytime camera, and we use it later in the code for showing or hiding the camera. And so then I print that variable just to make sure that I have just for like debugging purposes, to make sure it didn't grab the wrong window. And then window equals false. So it sets window, the variable, to false. So that means lines 55 and 57 will no longer run. If they did, it would get a different window ID when the nighttime camera turns on, and it would no longer work. So basically, if I never set it to false, this would run over and over again. But by setting it to false, that means that it only runs once, which is what it needs to do. So this line, audio equals recognizer.listen, that one and the one below it, they're just defining some more stuff for speech recognition. That's what SR stands for. I didn't want to type it out every time. Print response, it just prints the output of SR, speech recognition, to show what it heard. So that way I can tell if I need to work on a certain pronunciation. That's the reason that I want to give it an actual AI, so I don't have to say very specific commands, and it can actually like understand my tone of speaking, because I don't speak the same as everyone else, because we all have our own ways of saying things. So this line, if hey Jim, what time is it, is in response. It basically means if I ask the time, it runs lines 65 and 66, which those lines, line 60, wait, Just a second, hold on. Okay, I typed the wrong numbers, but basically, it was supposed to say 64 and 65. 64, it just gets the current time, and then 65, it runs it through this line, which just says what the time is, like it actually produces the sound from the speakers. This line is just if I say it's daytime, it runs lines 67 through 73, which will, these three lines right here, they turn off the nighttime camera, and then it says the sentence, got it, activating daytime camera, and then it will show the daytime camera. That's why we needed the window ID earlier, is when you change it to nighttime, basically it keeps that window open, it just pushes it to the back so you can't see it anymore, and then this line brings it back to the front so you can see it. And then GPIO.output flashlight underscore GPIO low, basically it just turns flashlight off. So this line, if I say it's nighttime, it'll run these lines, which means that it'll say got it, activating nighttime camera, it'll turn on the nighttime camera, it'll hide the daytime camera window. So basically it'll still be up here with like the rest of these tabs, it's just you can't see it. And then it turns the flashlight on, and then what this is basically this line right here means if the speech is not recognized, it goes to this line, which, whoops, it prints did not recognize that in the shell down here. I did originally have it to where it also like said the sentence didn't recognize that, but it got really annoying because if I just like left the code running, it would say that over and over again because it's trying to listen for a command, but I'm not giving it a command. So I removed that because that would get very annoying. And so define infinite loop 2, it is a loop to run the code for the camera for threading. Define camstream, it defines camstream. I was just basically showing you what the DEF meant. So this line, you've already seen it, it turns the flashlight off. That way, like if I was to restart the code, the flashlight wouldn't still be on. If I, basically what I mean is if I had the nighttime camera running and I stop the code, it doesn't turn the flashlight off. So whenever I start the code again, it would automatically turn it off because it would do the daytime camera. And so it delays for a second. It initializes Pygame, which is the library that I'm using to run the camera. I was originally using a different one. It was pretty intensive on the Pi, which like it made it work harder and it didn't need to. So I found a different thing that didn't make it work as hard. Pygame.camera.initialize, it just initializes the camera. This defines things for the display. This defines things for the camera. This starts the camera. This defines the screen. This is used to make a loop to constantly display the camera, otherwise it would only display like one frame. While capture, that's just, it's connected to this line. The loop for, sorry, I can't spell apparently. There we go. It's a loop for displaying the camera. This line just means it gets the camera image to display. These two lines, this one displays the left side of the whenever I run it and it shows the two images, this one shows the left one, this one shows the right one. Honestly, I don't know what this line does, but I tried removing it and the code didn't work, so I'm going to leave it. I'm pretty sure what it does is it just refreshes it to get like the next frame of the camera, so it's not just stuck on one frame. Honestly, I don't know what this does. I don't really have any clue, but it's there. So yeah, thread 1 equals this line right here. It just defines what thread 1 is, and then it starts thread 1. Thread 1 is the one that has the listening command in it, and then this is the same thing, but for thread 2. Thread 2 is the one for the daytime camera. The nighttime camera doesn't need a thread. It can run inside the listening loop. The daytime camera cannot though, because they work differently. Because one is a regular USB camera that you can plug into any computer, and the nighttime camera is a like official Raspberry Pi camera that can only connect to a Raspberry Pi. So that was all of the code. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below.